She's a tramp, she's a tramp, she's a trampoline girl. Hey everybody, it's me, SuperPaulGames. Welcome back to the adventures of Anton Rayne as he sits here reading his newspapers. We're looking at the Whole Sword Post. Remus Holstron, the shifty-looking mofo, deputy of the National Front Party, the ultra-right party, recently voiced objections to the Workers' Rights Bill. Workers should have rights. Currently in its conceptual phase, his criticism targets the bill's fifth section, which extends the same rights to migrant or undocumented workers as to sort of citizens. What? This proposed legislation has sparked a debate on the rights of migrant workers and the responsibility of employers, indicating a turning point in Sordland's labor laws. Look, I'm all for having more immigration. We want to have more open immigration. But if we allow anybody that comes here illegally to automatically have citizen rights, that's going to undermine the job market for the people who are natives. And we're trying to fix the job market for everybody here. I hate to agree with the NFP on something, but I agree with them on this. Creepy Remus, you right. Tell your brother Romulus I said hi. Energy Protection Act repeal process begins. So last time, when we had that massive meeting, they were talking about getting rid of the Energy Protection Act of 1932. Because right now, foreign companies, foreign entities can only own up to 20% of, I was going to say U.S. Sordland energy companies, in this case Gasom. So Franz Richter, who owns a lot of that company, wants to get that changed. Probably because he wants to sell ownership for a lot of money to foreigners. Opposition remains to it, though, from the United Sordland Party, that's our party, and the National Front Party, the right party. And by that I mean the party on the right. Emergency in Anrika, the mayor announces. Troubling news are coming from the mayor of Anrika, who reported that a state of chaos exists in the city and called an emergency directive authorizing him to use his security powers. In an announcement, Mayor Lesty said, "We are reporting 20 police officers heavily wounded. They got shot up, bitch. 2 police stations burned down and several shot. The city is in a state of emergency and we're trying to restore order." The local gendarme began assisting the mayor after the emergency request was made. The armed units are now securing critical junctions and key infrastructure like power stations, hospitals, and the municipality buildings. This is why the lesbians don't want to invest in our country, because it's a shit show. The local NFP leaders have announced that they will assist the local enforcement with the task of keeping the streets safe by reporting violent dissenters, a statement criticized by the local PIFJA official. The Freedom and Justice Party is like, no, don't report on that shit. I don't understand why they care, but whatever. Sordland Today. Alfonso Foundation, a beacon of charity. Oh, have they turned against me? You can see the last article, they were like, he stands with the commies. No, I don't. Now they're talking about the old president, Alfonso. Today, we highlight the efforts of the Alfonso Foundation, a beacon of charity in Sordland, founded by Ewald Alfonso, the third president of Sordland. The foundation has taken strides towards mitigating income inequality and addressing homelessness. Committed to long-term solutions, the foundation works tirelessly to promote fair wages, improve access to education, and champion policies favoring economic balance. Ewald Alfonso may have stepped away from politics, but his impact continues through this noble initiative. Oh, why don't you kiss their ass some more? Uh-oh. The economists want the Energy Protection Act repealed too, for more open market access. The hallowed halls of the Grand National Assembly of Sordland were recently alive with spirited debates with the ghosts concerning the Energy Protection Act of 1932. Our good old friend, Franz Richter, of the People's Freedom and Justice Party, or as I call him, PFJ, whatever, and the independent MP, Mansour Leakey, with the creepy head. My head's not so creepy, bro. Probably is. Tabled a proposal to repeal the EPA, currently restricting foreign ownership of security-sensitive energy corporations to 20%. This is a significant move, as it brings to the fore the crucial issue of market openness and foreign investment. This repeal, we believe, can catalyze economic growth and bring foreign direct investment to a market long protected from international competition. The old guard must embrace the changing economic global order, or risk lagging behind. Man, I don't know if I want to read all these articles. Let's see, the Lockhaven Times says there's a skill gap with foreign workers, as in we're having a hard time bringing in foreign workers that are skilled. We can find unskilled ones, but not skilled ones. Unrest continues. There continues to be violent protests as people demand change. They want more freedom, more democratic change, more economic security. They saw bus stations, the reporters did, that were destroyed, shops burned, and people carried to the hospitals in ambulances. But there are also some calm scenes where police forces allowed peaceful protests from all sides. That's what we should be pushing for, not all this violence. Certain cities, like Enrica, Suzerain, and Avery, are much more damaged by the unrest. The overall momentum of the protest doesn't seem likely to stop soon. Come on, dudes! Quit! This is making it hard to govern. How about you quit being dickheads? Let's see, there's also a story about welfare issues in Narble. A shepherd said he had to wait 5 months to get health care. What do you expect, man? Go see a vet. He's like, that's horribly out of touch. What do you want? I'm not a doctor. I don't know how to fix that shit. Another person said they're used to seeing dangerous, there are dangerous mountain paths their kids have to walk to school. Well, quit going to school then. Oh, the radicals like, we need democracy. That's what I'm pushing for. The taking away some of the power from the executive branch and some of the arbitrary power that the crooked Supreme Court has to allow the People's Assembly to have more power. Oh, and they're saying we need more civil rights for the people. Yeah, I agree. Whether it is the leader of the opposition or our current president, somebody has to break the cycle and rewrite the Constitution made by Tarkansol, whose cult of personality has shaped our current divided national spirit and must be broken. Will President Rayne stand up to the establishment and listen to the people? We'll see. I've been trying to not stop, dipshits. I always listen to you dumb fucks. I mean, you wonderful, wonderful people. Geopolitico. Energy tensions rise. Or escalate even in Rizia. In a recent development, Lay Power, the largest energy corporation of the ATO member Lesbia, announced an energy deal with Populace over a disputed sea gas field Reyes. Rizia, which has laid claims over these fields, is likely to see an escalation in tensions. The Alliance of Nations, that's like the UN, through its mechanism Andor, has been closely monitoring the situation, attempting to defuse the issue diplomatically. As energy resources become a major bargaining chip, this event adds another layer of complexity to regional politics. I don't care. Oh, this is what we did. Rumberg closed one of, they got 3 consulates or whatever in our country. They closed one. And then Dickhead was like, you should close ours that are there. And I was like, no, we're going to send him a strongly worded letter. Let's see how this plays. Sordland condemns closure. The response to Rumberg consulate closure in Lockhaven was quick. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs sent a strongly worded official diplomatic condemnation letter accusing Rumberg of destabilizing Sordland and the surrounding region. Several nations have made supporting statements for Sordland in the Alliance of Nations. It is clear that this letter is not just directed at Rumberg, but to all surrounding countries observing the serious situation. Alright, so that seems to have played alright. Oh! Flying up to Ignoli up north. What do we got? There's something on the world stage with the Warsaw Pact, or I should say the Contanan Security Pact. In fact, we should probably check that out next. So I can see right here, read the report, the CSP, the Contanan Security Pact, unveils comprehensive IOTake it from you plan for Rika's infrastructure. So, if we move down here... Wait, where did it say? Rika or Rizia? I don't have comprehension. I don't remember that long. Rika, where the fuck's Rika? I was gonna be like, it's all Rizia down here. I guess I have to read whatever it is. Geography was not my strong point in Sordland University. In a calculated effort to expand its geopolitical sway, the Continental Security Pact, spearheaded by Vice Secretary Chairman Toza Quincy Iotake, has unveiled a colossal investment scheme aimed at revolutionizing Rica's infrastructure and education sectors. As the continent of Rica emerges as a fresh... Oh, it's a continent. That's what it is. Unlike me, I'm incontinent. I think that's the continent that they're on. The commies. As the continent of Rica... Well, there's commies on our continent, too. We're Majorca, something or other. As the continent of Rica emerges as a fresh battleground in the global tug of ideologies, an increasing number of revolutions embracing Malvanianism and Volksland socialism indicate a shifting landscape. The comprehensive plan lays out investments amounting to 150 billion KS over the next 5 years, seeking to significantly boost Rica's public infrastructure. Key projects include upgrading 5,000 kilometers of rail and road networks, constructing 3 major hospitals, and establishing 200 healthcare facilities across the continent. Simultaneously, an unprecedented revamp of Rica's education sector is on the anvil, with plans to construct 150 new schools and introduce an enhanced curriculum focusing on science, technology, and the arts. Yeah, enjoy all your art jobs. I say as somebody who's made a job in the arts for the last 20 years. With this initiative, the CSP endeavors to portray Rica as a beacon of sustainable development, providing a counter-narrative to Ato's capitalist expansion and exhibiting the efficacy of the CSP's socio-political model. That's great. I don't care. I wish I hadn't read that. Good for you all. Oh, you're going to be all smart and sciencey and shit. Whatever. What do we got? We got more reports. Let's see the one from Lockhaven near our road construction project. CPS and LUS picket line, the Communist Party of Sordland, and the Labor Union of Sordland have set up a picket line in the city. The two organizations, after recently moving to Gaslam HQ in the city, are actively expressing their discontent. I don't care. Why would I care? They're unhappy. I don't care. Get a job. The situation is attracting attention, and the impact on the city's daily functioning is yet to be determined. The response of the local administration to this development is keenly observed. Really? Whatever. Oh, and there's another protest in Estord by these same dudes. They're voicing concerns over Gaslam's activities. Alright, is that the last place too? Is it going to be more of the commies and the unions? Young Swords member claim links to the government. A detained Young Swords member in Arvery, once again that's the youth ultra-right organization, the Young Swords, claimed that he has connections to the local government. Well, he's gonna be like, my uncle works there? Who cares? We have been investigating the truth of his claims, but we're not able to find any further leads for now. Investigation about this case will continue. That's the worst story ever. Somebody said that he's got friends in high places. Why is this... Why are you bringing this shit to me? Alright, so, there's a briefing on the results from the Reform Committee. There's a Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act that has been passed by the Grand National Assembly. They're natural, man. All natural. And there's a report from the Grand National Assembly's Green Bill in Holster. Let's read the report. The GNA is preparing the Green Bill with a focus on promoting sustainable industry practices, particularly in Groenie. Section 1 of the Act proposes stricter regulations on industrial pollution and waste disposal. It suggests hefty fines for non-compliance with the collected revenue to be reinvested in environmental recovery products. In the middle of a recession? Yeah, you can see where Groenie is there. It's right here. Looks like Uni. Wait, there's another report? Whoa, you bastards! It's like I read one report and there was another report under it! These are the people that are trying to repeal the Energy Protection Act that we read about in the news. Franz Richter is pushing for it. Repeal proposal for the Energy Protection Act of 1932. The Grand National Assembly of Sordland gathered yesterday for a significant session, where a proposal from Franz Richter of the People's Freedom and Justice Party and supported by the independent MP Mansoon Leakey, was put forth to repeal the Energy Protection Act of 1932. This act, as it currently stands, restricts foreign ownership of security-sensitive energy corporations to 20%. This proposal to repeal or modify the law has been a topic of debate in the Assembly, with proponents arguing for an open market approach and opponents advocating for protection of Sordland's critical industries from foreign influence. If the repeal successfully garners the requisite majority in the Assembly, then we'll head to the Marine Palace where we live for final approval. Oh wait, they were all three at once. I could have just flipped through them. Kibner demands emergency to be called. The leader of the NFP, Kasaro Kibner, has demanded an emergency to address the increasing political violence in the country. He stated that without a declaration of emergency, Sordland would be destabilized and the integrity of the country would be damaged even further. Alright, enough of you bullshitters. I guess we'll look at the Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act. I feel like we have more important things to do than deal with this right now. Like, who's going to want to come to our country for tourism? We're in the middle of everything getting, like, fucked up. The Sordland Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act aims to amplify the cultural allure and tourism viability of Boren, Ribery, Lockhaven, Anrika, and Benfai. The Grand National Assembly is calling a collective push to establish Sordland as a global tourist destination and reduce the effects of the recession. In the midst of... Are you serious? Who would want to come here in the midst of people getting shot and beat up at protests every other week? Section 1 focuses on the cultural elevation of these cities, identifying local food, drink, music, dance, architecture, and the historical sites as unique selling propositions even. This cultivation of cultural tourism is positioned as a catalyst for economic invigoration. Section 2 underscores the restoration and preservation of key landmarks in Lockhaven and Anrika. Concurrently, it proposes a comprehensive renovation of tourist infrastructure in Benfai to enrich the visitor experience and generate steady income for local communities. Section 2, subsection 1, further commits to safeguarding the development of the caves, not the caves, of Antera and Ribery, and the vineyards, or vineyards as you might even say, of Boren, recognizing their potential as tourism growth drivers. So if we do that, it'll cost us one government budget. We have 6. We've not spent much or any so far. I don't know if I want to even support this, though. You know what? I'm not going to support it. I know we need the economic help, but logically, who wants to go tour? You know, you don't go on a tourist trip to, like, I don't know, Beirut in the middle of the 80s, right? You don't, there's certain places just, until we solve the violence issue, I don't think it's worth the money. I'm going to veto it. If the National Assembly wants to overrule me, I don't think they can with our current constitution. Get bent. Oh, wait, there's some news about that. Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act vetoed. Despite hopes for an economic revival through cultural tourism, President Anton Rayne's like, let's be serious. What's our culture? We eat out of clay pots? Who gonna come see that? Has vetoed the Sordland Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act. The bill sought to enrich the cultural and allure and tourism, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know, it's not going to help the tourism, but we have bigger problems. C. The TCPA, vetoed by Rayne, a missed opportunity. In a disappointing move, President Anton Rayne vetoed the Sordland Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act. This act aimed to boost Sordland's cultural allure and tourism viability. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Really, like, let's have growth with real industries. Did it make something bad happen? Situation. Tourism is heavily declining. I can't imagine there was a lot to begin with. What kind of idiots would come here? I came a little early, and then I also arrived a little early to the meeting room before anybody showed up. We had scheduled a meeting to discuss the progress of the Reform Committee regarding the new Constitution. I took a seat on the center chair in the vacant meeting room as I waited for them to show up. The reforms were slowly becoming the most significant expectation of my government. We would be changing Seoul's constitution of 29. Most people nowadays blame the constitution for the outstanding problems of the country. On the other hand, the reformists in the assembly had been getting louder blah, 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 about their demands. What I knew for sure was that I needed to do something about this encroaching chaos before it swallowed me whole. Meanwhile, Lucien, Peter, and Nia had been leading the committee to prepare an initial draft for the constitutional amendments. I was intrigued to hear the results. There was a knock on the door. It was Lucien.
Good afternoon, sir.
Lucien had arrived exactly on the hour mark again. His punctuality could almost be described as obsessive. I would not say that. He's respecting my time. I appreciate that. My time is valuable. His time is valuable. Your time is valuable. Don't waste it on people who can't respect your time. Good afternoon, Lucien. He took a seat at the table and took out a bunch of documents, spreading them on the long table.
We should begin the meeting as soon as Ms. Mogna and Mr. Vice President arrives. We finally have some results from the Reform Committee.
How's it look, man? Just lay it on me, bro. How's it look?
Well, the situation is quite complicated, but I'm sure we will make it work, just like when we accomplished many things before. We'll go over the details regarding the new constitution in the meeting.
Let's just do it now, Lucien. You know Pete's gonna show up and be like, eh. A few minutes later, Peter and Nia also arrived. After a short chat, everyone sat down and took out their notes. I knew it was going to be not another long meeting. Oh no. The last meeting was too long.
Sir, that's part of being president.
No, can't we have bite-sized meetings? There's a lot of talk about the future of this process. Let us begin to tackle the points of contention.
Oh, really, Pete?
I wasn't going to do that at all. I was going to shit on the table and then howl like a monkey. That's not a very good idea. Pete.
Mr. President, our committee meetings were really fruitful. We have already started on constitutional draft together with the reformists. They demanded a little too much, but we've had success with Friends Richter to create a realistic draft that could potentially go through the Supreme Court.
That is the sticking point, because those assholes in the court can vote. Not on constitutionality, just vote on if they like it or not. A little? They demanded to rewrite the whole Constitution. Mr. Richter's deputy even suggested removing the term sword from the Constitution completely.
Oh, I didn't like their theatrics, but the requests were definitely not outrageous. But they were just not realistic in today's political circumstances and all that. Nonetheless, Mr. President, thanks for your convincing arguments. We seem to have reached a common ground already.
See, I laid out the groundwork earlier by being nice to Friends Richter and the Pifjas to try and find some common ground.
If we can fully reach an agreement with the reformists, we will be very strong in the Assembly to propose the change.
You do realize, Lucien, that in the end, if we agree to these reforms, we're going to be weaker because we are giving up some executive power. Is it possible to pass this through the Supreme Court, though? Who am I going to have to blow there? I don't want to be blowing old man dick to get this through. Maybe you do, Pete.
They are the biggest obstacle to the court. Even if we pass the Assembly, the Chief Justice will do his best to block our amendments.
If I remember correctly, in a very, very early episode, we met, was it Hawker? It was, I think, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and he seems sleazy as can be, like another Tarkin Solo appointee.
We need at least 6 of the judges, the 11 judges that is, to vote for the proposal, but Mr. Hawker has enormous influence over the judges.
Yeah, I remember meeting that guy, I think.
We'd read out to the judges in secret. Oh, nobody would know. Some might be willing to break rank to support us.
You know what? All means are to be considered in order to succeed. I could say we need to have a just cause and all that, but look, at some point we need to make the sausage. So far we've been pretty much stick to our guns and optimistic and the right will prevail, but let's be honest, at this point, it's politics and you gotta make the sausage. So all means are to be considered in order to succeed, my friendos. Neo is taken back by this statement.
Oh! According to the Constitution, I am a member of the Supreme Court, which means we already have one vote.
I didn't know that, or maybe I did.
2 of the judges are friends of mine, best bud judge, and of similar opinion about the reforms. Consider them with me.
Alright, I will. You better come through, bitch. Who else? I'm not gonna say the rest can be bribed. I'm open to it, but I'm not gonna say that. Who else would be willing to support the reforms?
I think Judge Edmonds can be persuaded, and in extension, Mr. Dalton and Mr. Martin.
Well, that's 5.
They weren't really blinded by the socialist ideology at all.
Those 3 don't seem to be working directly with Chief Justice Hawker. If we can get to Isabel Edmonds, we might get the 6 votes we needed, but that's our best bet.
Hey, girl. How you doing, Judge? I judge you worthy of voting yes on my thing. She's like, are you talking about your dick? Not very often. What? Can we reach the 2/3 majority, though, to get through the assembly, to even get to these dickhead judges?
Hey, I'm a judge.
I stand by my sentence.
If you can get Franz Richter to work with you on this, our only problem would be uniting our own party. We'll never be able to get the NFP to work with us.
Then our party better join us. I don't know, I don't know.
We need the majority of our 130 seats in the assembly to vote in favor. With Piff's full support of 70 votes, we will easily surpass the needed 166, But it will be tough to unite the USP. With all the divisive wings that has formed, you must make them follow you loyally.
I don't know, what political favors can we give out? Do we have, like, diplomat jobs we can hand out? We did it before the elections. You know, we can do it again! Hooray for us!
Albin Clavin and his reformist...
Oh, I thought it was Kelvin reforms. That's a whole different things.
What? Albin Clavin and his reformist ring would be supporting you. He already weighed in heavily in the committee meetings.
Alright. Score. One guy I don't know is with us. We got that going.
However, the conservatives would be tough to break. The influence of Sol is still living strong in the party.
Do you think, though... I'm not going to say we have to remove his influence. That's what... If we succeed, it's not going to matter. If we succeed and we can get the power to the people, then the people will decide. Do you think they can be persuaded, the conservatives in our own party?
Yeah, I'm sure it's possible, but regardless of my opinion, we need to persuade most of them to support us for passing an amendment to the Constitution. And there is only one person who is key to make them back us.
Gloria Torrey. She's well respected by the Solists. She'll be our biggest obstacle in the assembly, and our demands will be extensive.
Like what? A new toaster?
I have also reason to think she might be in Orso's pocket.
She's in her pocket? Is she tiny?
She will be tough to break, but we need her help to get the conservative support.
What are the demands?
We should run down each of the main demands of the committee and get your input first, Ms. Morgna, can then explain them. We'll start with the first red line. The new Constitution will fix the loopholes regarding the President's absolute veto powers.
Remember what we just vetoed? Nobody can overrule that, because right now my veto is law, but we're gonna give that up.
Even though Mr. Richter put on a whole show about why vetoes should be completely removed, the committee has almost unanimously agreed on fixing the loopholes, thus limiting presidential vetoes.
I'm willing to give up that power, because I'm not going to be president forever,
My suggestion is to add a clause detailing the methods the Assembly may override a veto with some sort of supermajority. One person should never be able to block the rest.
I'm down with that. I could be like, they won't dictate the negotiations. No, I'm on board with this. The loopholes do give in the president too much power. I could say I stand in agreement with Richter. I don't understand the difference between the top one and the middle one. They both are like, yeah, we want to change the way vetoes work. You know, I'm just gonna, I guess we need friends. I stand in agreement with Richter. The vetoes should be removed altogether.
Whatever you decide is important to a balanced picture. We will be making history by changing the 1929 Constitution of Sol.
The second one is the judiciary. The new constitution will remove the Supreme Court's right to vote on legislation.
I'm super for that.
This is yet another point that was unanimously agreed on by all parties. Tarkin Sol established this rule to protect his 29 Constitution. We all know most judges are still his pawns. Constitutional amendments will still be very difficult to accomplish with a reform like this, particularly because we will keep two-thirds vote system to be able to propose a change. However, the judiciary will not have a final say in the amendments.
Yeah, it sounds cool. That sounds cool. I mean, this sounds exactly like what we wanted to do. That's already what we wanted to do, lady.
Yes, this will ensure that there won't be another politically motivated Supreme Court.
I hate to break it to her, but that still could happen. They'll just have less political power, so hopefully the court in the future will be focusing on making judgments based on the Constitution, not trying to say yay or nay to laws.
Apart from these two critical points, they have other major demands. They want to reform the appointment procedures of the ministers. Mr. Richter has clarified that the Assembly should have a say in the formation of the Council of Ministers.
Yeah, that is something that a majority in our party also support.
Alright.
Well, Mr. Richter also talked about abolishing the Member of Honor rights of Tarkin Sol that gives him absolute immunity and makes him a permanent member of the Assembly.
I think that is probably the right thing to do, but do we have the political power to do that?
Well, that one is the controversial one. I doubt the USP would like that.
Immunity of the justices, the impeachment of the president, limiting the power of the presidential decrees, all this came up during the committee meetings.
Yes, the reformists expect big reforms, not little, while our faction in the USP are not very keen on pushing changes that are too great.
I get it. Our party's in charge right now. They think they're always going to be in charge.
I'd say keeping everything in the middle ground is the safest bet. No need to agitate anyone too much.
No, this is our opportunity to fix things. Not fixing things properly is why Alfonso failed before us. I could say they have valid concerns we need to look at. I could say small and manageable changes. No, I disagree. We will push for comprehensive reforms. If this is the only thing our administration succeeds at, and we get kicked out of power, as long as we have taken the power out of Tarkin Sol's broken system and given it to the people will have a chance.
I'm with you on this, Mr. President! Oh!
Well, regardless of what Mr. Rayne decides, we will need to work together to push this agenda.
Yes, now we have a better picture of your intentions, sir. I will start reaching out to my contracts to make a draft that works for us.
I'll present your input to the committee. In a few months, you would have a draft on your desk to make the final changes yourself.
Great, great.
I think this was another fruitful meeting, sir.
This meeting wasn't as long. Man, that last meeting I was in was forever. In fact, I might have got confused at what was going on and quit paying attention.
That happens a lot.
I didn't hear what you had to say, bro. Let's see. I'm not going to be full of us. I could be like, we're heroes if we do this. Captain Planet, fuck that shit. I can say thanks for the meeting. I can say your service is appreciated. No, we're going to say something that is a little hopeful. Together, we will democratize Sordland for everybody.
And you have my full support, Mr. President.
Ours too, of course.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. I think this is where we'll call it, sir.
Thanks, Lucian. You the man.
No, sir. You're the man. Have a good day.
They left the room. Here I am, all by myself. Well, that was actually a very useful meeting, a very interesting meeting. Oh, I don't know if I want to read this other shit. I think I might save that for next time. Things are looking forward. We're going to try and reform the Constitution, fix that shit. I maybe fucked up tourism because I didn't spend any money on it. Hey, we still got 6 monies. Some point there's going to be an emergency where you need money, right? Right? Hopefully. Hopefully not, actually. I don't know. I'll see you maybe next time.